and a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. I decided to discuss with you the importance of quality assurance in the European higher education area. It's obviously an issue of high concern as you prepare in all the European universities to embark, design, and embark on new programs of study. It's a new and interesting experiment. So Europe, a lot of countries, a lot of systems in higher education, different administration modes, different legal frameworks, not always congruent, and there are universities that are hundreds of years old, universities, young universities like the University of Thessaly, a few decades old, um, and states that want to control higher education, states that have passed the freedom to the universities a long time ago. Uh, Differences, but collaborate in research projects, in education projects. They established networks, and they began to know each other. That created mobility of students, mobility of faculty, staff, programs such as Erasmus, but all the rest that required the people to get together and work together and innovate and come with different modes for learning and creating knowledge. That brought about the European Universities Initiative. Lots of universities grabbed the opportunity, expressed interest, created alliances, of which arguably Invest is the best. Okay, or it has the potential to be one of the best. I sincerely wish you best of success and best of luck. We all want to see how this program is going to evolve. But technology provides other modes of learning, interesting modes of learning. We call it student-centered approach or seamless learning. And I heard it for the first time as vividly stated as anybody else by Anne Maria Imafidon, then 21-year-old, talking to a mega conference in Brussels in 2014. She was a prodigy who got her master's in math from Oxford University at the age of 19. We want to be able to learn anything, anytime, anywhere, at our pace, at our place. So the young generation requires more, expects more than delivery of a lecture in a great auditorium such as this, or in a crummy classroom that also exists in some university environments. Require more than the delivery of a lecture by a professor and a final exam at the end of the semester. The technology has given us different environments, different tools, different modes of educating. I call them the many faces or the many facets of education, and these are just some of the different ways you can educate people. And none of them is the traditional way of having a class and a fixed study program that students have to finish in 4 or 5 year time in 8 semesters or 10 or 6. All these exist, are available to the majority of the students, and all of them require some kind of quality assurance. We learn how to do quality assurance in traditional programs, more or less, and we consider it as a continuous and structured evaluation process that focuses on improvement and accountability, because universities have to report to the community how they spend the money that they get from the government or from the European Union, for that matter. So quality assurance provides information and judgment through a predefined process and a set of criteria, and can be either internal or external. It is based on an institutional system supported by a relevant quality culture. I will come back to this. It's not synonymous to quality accreditation because it is wider in scope. And it is, or it has to be, part of the institutional quality management system. Accreditation is a procedure of quality assurance. Accreditation is not evaluation. It's a specific, predefined, and internationally acceptable. It is based on specific, predefined, and internationally acceptable published quantitative and qualitative standards and indicators, and I will discuss them briefly. And it is aligned with the principles and guidelines for quality assurance in the European higher education area. It requires the independence of the quality assurance agency. So the quality assurance is not performed by the government or by the university itself. It requires an independent agency. It has the phase of the institutional self-assessment, the internal evaluation, then followed by an external evaluation or a site visit, and a review that is published. I don't know if I have to repeat the benefits of quality assurance. Greek universities are in the process of going through accreditation. It started back in 2018 as accreditation, and the newer programs, newer study programs will finish this process this year. And then we move to the accreditation of the graduate programs, of which we have a lot. So the benefits are internal and external. Even though our colleagues generally grants about the papers that they have to fill, the reports that they have to prepare for the site visit. At the end, they are invariably happy with the result once they realize how much they do, how much they have accomplished, and how well they can present themselves. You know, it gives them the opportunity to identify some deficiencies and act upon them. The principles of quality assurance in the European higher education area are also, I believe, known, but let me just highlight them. It is the responsibility of the higher education institution to assure quality of their provision of education. The quality assurance responds to the diversity of higher education systems, institutions, programs, and students that are available in the world. Supports the development of a quality culture and takes into account the needs and expectations of students, all other stakeholders, and society. What we have in Europe and the world, we have ENCA, the European Association for Quality Assurance in Higher Education, that was established in 2000 as a network, and in 2004 as an association of quality assurance in higher education, and is an umbrella organization, association for the national agencies in the 49 countries that participate, and of course aims to promote quality in higher education. We have ECAR, the European Quality Assurance Register for Higher Education, that evaluates and accredits national agencies and some private agencies that comply with the European standards and guidelines and can perform accreditation exercises. In ECAR, there are governments that participate. There are main stakeholder organizations such as the European University Association and ENCA itself, and there are observers from the European Union and other European major bodies. This is also the International Network for Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education that, as the name suggests, is not European, but it's global and pre-existed because it was established in 1991. It's loosely coupled association. It does not exert as much control as ENCA to the individual agencies, but it has a set of international standards and guidelines. The Hellenic Authority for Higher Education has a dual mission. One is the quality assurance, evaluation and accreditation of programs of study in Greece, but it also contributes towards the formation and implementation of the national strategy for higher education and the allocation of funding to Greek public universities. And in this way, it is sort of different from the majority of the national quality assurance agencies. It has an additional role and set of responsibilities. HAHE is a member of all three international associations. Recently, this year, we became members of ECAR. A word about the European standards and guidelines that are re-evaluated every 10 years. We currently use the 2015 version, set of standards and guidelines for internal and external quality assurance, which provide guidance and mode for performing quality assurance and ways to tailor it to the national environments. But they set a common framework. They enable assurance and improvement of quality, support mutual trust, provide information. All these highlighted items there are of importance to European universities, because I assume that it is a common goal to work in the same way. The ESGs require internal quality assurance, external quality assurance, and of course the involvement of the quality assurance agencies. Those of you who are involved in the accreditation of your programs of study are familiar with the criteria of HAHE, because we are aligned, we have aligned our criteria to the European standards and guidelines. 34 countries and regions are fully aligned, including Greece. 10 countries and regions are partially aligned, and 7 countries at the moment are not aligned yet. This, as I said, there's a set of international standards and guidelines supported by INCAHE, divided into 3 sections. I will not, of course, list them in details, but notice that section number 3, guiding principles, to promote continuous enhancement of the national quality assurance agencies. Through a continuous cycle of checking for relevance and efficiency. And if you identify that you are falling behind, or there are new modes of education accredited or controlled, then you revise, you transform, and you measure efficiency. So the goal is to continuous improvement. And this is another way to look at it. The capability maturity model, which is applied to a number of varying processes, including software development. You start with processes that are at the initial stage. An organization such as a university starts with at this stage. Think, for example, processes such as the admission of students in a graduate program of study, or in the selection of educators, teachers, professors that will teach in a graduate program of study. It's 2 separate processes. Initially, years ago, these processes in the Greek system were disorganized, ad hoc, and even chaotic. So decisions were taken based on what was available, what was the individual thinking of the director of the program. So gradually, and we consider it an improvement if these processes become repeatable. And we say that the organization itself passes through at the second level, where processes are established, defined, and documented. The third level is called defined, where standard processes are developed, and standard, for example, for all graduate programs in a university, the way to admit students is set to not necessarily one if the university is large and multi-thematic, but at least there are 3 or 4 different ways of admission of students, and every program of study has to choose one of them, not devise their own. And then at the managed level, processes are monitored and controlled by the organization. And lastly, optimizing where processes are continuously improved. So the organization itself has mechanisms that will continuously improve its own processes. Universities are not, I'm talking primarily about Greek universities. I don't want to generalize. Universities are not at the optimizing level. They're somewhere between 3 and 4. and the quality assurance process helps them move higher. There are a lot of challenges for quality assurance. I think I have, do I have a couple of minutes? This is my last slide. Um, and we have a panel session after lunch where we will discuss some of them. Definitely cross-border quality assurance or quality assurance in joint programs, such as those that will emerge from European universities, is a challenge. Um, we have to devise new rules or to update our standards and guidelines. And we want to work with you, with the universities, and evaluate your ideas, your proposals, and come up with a scheme that will be efficient and effective. Okay. We have micro-credentials that arise from all over the world. We have students taking classes, online classes from various institutions. Sustainability, which is an issue of concern to invest, to your alliance, sustainability of higher education, the increasing cost of education. Does it guarantee better quality? We're not sure. We don't know. A lot of us don't think so. And how sustainable it is. I mean, in the U.S., there are articles that begin to appear in newspapers such as New York Times that begin to question the return on investment of a university degree. Does it make any sense, or does it make the same sense as it used to be 20, 30 years ago to make all the effort to go to the university, spend all that money, and try to get a job afterwards? I was actually flabbergasted by when I was reading this article. So it is. Technology advances, and especially AI, and especially ChatGPT and general AI, may be a major disruption in higher education, at least in some areas of higher education. We don't know yet. We don't want to talk about it because we cannot think of an education process without a professor in the class, but it may happen. We may be an endangered species. I don't know. It's an age thing. I'm sorry. It's an age thing. If you're 30 years old, you may be thinking that the professors are an endangered species. If you're in your 60s like me, then you think, well, I'm safe. I will manage to retire. The fundamental values in the European higher education area, like student participation, like university autonomy, like the interaction with society and the control of the university on its own operation. League tables or global rankings versus quality. Is there a correlation? Some universities begin to question that and have decided to abstain. And I have also listed institutional quality assurance. What I mean by that, sometimes a program of study is presented in a very nice way, a very nice package, but the reality on the ground is different because some people may think that the goal is to get the accreditation the stamp of approval, and we don't care if what we have promised or what we have presented is real or not. The institutional mentality on quality assurance is different from what is presented as an accomplishment with various accreditation um, stamps and approvals. Thank you. I think we will have a chance to continue the discussion later on.